Beautiful. Okay, well, we make sure that everybody's here and checked in. Oh, I can see my beautiful. How do I get out of that? Make sure that watching myself live. All right, I've just got somebody that needs some tech support to get in, so I'll just go out and send her a. Let me do that. We'll be sorted in a minute, everybody. Let's see. So just make sure that you've got a journal, something, or just pen and paper to write down anything that might come up for you that you want to. I'm going to record it, so you'll get a recording sent out to you as well. Get everybody sorted here. Alrighty, so I've just muted everybody so that if there's any background noise, it's not going to make a problem to the masterclass. So don't worry if you have your kids around you or anything like that. It's not going to worry me. I work around chaos most of my time, so that's okay. Beautiful, Susan's here too. Excellent. So welcome everybody to my masterclass. This is a beautiful opportunity where we get to work together in a beautiful intimate container where I can share what I know and help teach you these energetic practices to give you some grounding, calm rhythms and rituals that you can easily weave into a busy day when you've got kids that need you and you might be working or doing extra things or projects or just trying to keep on top of the house or your self-care or your relationship or whatever it is that you're working on. So trying to get those all sorted and easy for you. I've got some slides, so I'm just going to share my screen with you. Let me see if that's going to work. Da, da, da. No worries. You can all see that there. Let me just see if I can make it a lot bigger. Did that work? And you can all still see me there? All right, you might not be able to see me, but can you see my slides? No. Sharing is paused. Come on. Let's see. Stop and try again. Can you see me now? Okay, let's try that again. Can you see my slides? Yes, awesome. Okay, so Energetics of Calm Masterclass. So if you've got everything sorted, make sure you're comfy. Like I was saying before, if people have just joined, you might not have heard me saying, if your children are in and out, that is okay, because we welcome the raw realities of motherhood here. Working with me, I completely understand it. I work around my kids all the time. So that's why we have it on mute, so that if there's any background noise in your home, in your area, it's not going to interrupt. So I have a lot of people that feel anxious about them being distracted or in or out or working with their kids or attending to their needs. And I just want to be upfront and say that don't stress. We are completely embracing all of that type of lifestyle. All right, so this is a masterclass that is going to be focusing on the first stage to be able to, like, my goal is to be able to help you to hold space for your children, to help you to be able to guide your child on how to hold space for themselves, on how to work through their emotional bodies and work through their energetic bodies, and hold that in personal power, courageous self-confidence. That's my overall goal. And to be able to do that, we first need to hold space for ourselves. So that's the point of this here, is to be able to bring us back into our grounding, into a calm state of presence, but so that we're not just constantly working from a reactive state. Okay, so let's see. Now, this is a bit about me. So some of you haven't worked with me before. Some of you know me quite well. So welcome to you all. My name's Dania Foster, an energetics therapist. So what that means is that I combine my innate abilities. So I've been working with energy since I was a child. I was a very intuitive child, and very sensitive to energy, very sensitive to emotions. I was somebody who my mother would call very clingy, very attention seeking, very demanding of every single scrap of her energy, that drove her absolutely insane. And she would take me to all different places, to every metaphysical shop, and took me all to different types of healers and psychic fairs and meditation classes for children and different types of things to try and help me, because she just didn't know what to do with me. And so I was exposed to lots of beautiful things from a young age. I was working with color magic as a child and crystals, very intuitively. Now that grew into working with tarot as a teenager and doing readings, and I'm very in tune with reading people's emotions and people's energies. So I started working with Reiki as a teenager, and then I actually used my manifesting tools, my intuition, to meet my husband. Like I said in here, I manifested my soulmate, and I wrote down a list of everything I needed in, or I deserved in a partner. I wanted in a partner, and manifested him, and moved across the country to make that happen. And when I did that, I actually put all of these gifts away. I put all of these abilities away and tried to fit into a world where I didn't actually know anybody. So I put everything away and tried to be normal, tried to fit in, and it just did not work for me at all. I pretended that I didn't do any sort of energy work, and I wasn't witchy, and I wasn't any of those things. And I ended up working in a corporate career. I worked for a large health insurance company as a sales coach, and I had the working full time, and had my first child, and that's when everything started to fall apart, because I realized that you can't actually mother and do this without your intuition. I've worked that you can't actually mother without having a connection to self. And everything started to fall apart, and my relationship started to crumble, because I was doing all of this projecting and reacting, and I wasn't connected to anything. So I really needed to come back into that. So what I did was I actually picked up my studies. When I moved and moved across the country to be with my now husband, I stopped studying. I was studying my bachelor's degree in naturopathy, and I put that on hold to do that. So when I was pregnant with my second baby, who is now 5, I re-enrolled in my course, in my bachelor's degree in naturopathy. So I'm now a 3rd-year student in naturopathy, and I studied that part-time for the past 5 years. And it's I know that that's my calling. So I actually was doing that for about a year while I was working. I was juggling all of the balls. I was working in corporate, studying naturopathy, and I was running women's circles on the side. I was doing all of the things, and everything was just, it was too much. And I ended up having to do a lot of soul work to break away from that system of working full time, of giving up a full-time income, to follow my heart, to be able to be there for my kids. I pulled them out of daycare, pulled them out of kinder, and and decided to go on an unschooling path. And to do all of that, it's been all about having to trust my connection to self, to be able to listen to my intuition, to be there fully for my family, and to actually do this life path, this soul work that I'm here to do. So that's just a little snapshot about me. I could go on about myself all day. I actually had 3 pages written, and I said to Jared, I'm like, I've done my about me slide and it's 3 pages of writing long and I have to condense it into one slide. And he's like, what are you doing to people? You can't like torture them with all of this information about yourself. And I'm like, oh, well, I've just got so much to say. So I'm trying to keep it short for you, but open for any questions. If you have them, just send me a message. Let's see. So in this masterclass, we're going to be journaling through some things. So make sure you got your pen and paper ready. We're going to, like I said, asking you some questions and getting you to dig deep. We're going to do some quick meditation practices. So they're not going to be super long or involved because we've got about an hour here today. And in real life, we don't often have that much time to delve into our meditation practices. So being busy, having lots of balls to juggle, we want our practices quick, succinct, and we want them to work. We want them to be effective quickly. We're going to chat about your individual rhythms. We're going to talk about what it is that moves through your week, moves you through your week, and where are your resistance. So we're going to talk about that as well. So it's going to be quite interactive if you're here with me. So don't worry if your kids are running wild. I've said that before. Now, just think about this. We can't hold space for our child to embrace their emotional selves, their energetic selves, when we don't do the same for ourselves. So this is something that comes up a lot for my clients when we talk about we want to teach our children to have self-confidence and self-love. Now, it may be that our parents, our mothers maybe, our parents told us that we could do anything and that we would have, that we should love ourselves. And maybe our parents told us those things. Maybe they didn't, but maybe we had that type of upbringing where we were told that we should love ourselves and we should look after yourself. And society says this to us a lot, is make sure you fill your own cup before you can give to another. Make sure that you, take care of yourself, put your oxygen mask on before you try and help somebody else. But the thing is that as children growing up in society that tells us these things, tells us to do it, tells us to do that, but we don't have a model of what does that actually look like. If we don't have a mother that models how to love and be a passionate human being, and I don't mean passionate as in like happy or joyous, but maybe in the sense of following their joy. If we have a mother that is martyred and giving up selves or being passive aggressive or doing these different things out of obligation, then it's really hard to know what self-love or holding space for an emotional self or holding space for our energetic selves looks like. So we need to become that model. We need to become the model for the behavior we wish our children to adopt. We want our children to be self-confident. We need to become self-confident and embody that. If we want to teach them self-love and self-respect, we need to embody that. And this is what I teach, is how to do this modeling, because we want so much for our children. We want them to be able to know their energetic bodies and their emotional bodies. We want them to be able to work with this energy, to be able to heal themselves and move through any challenges and blocks and resistance, and be able to have these tools to thrive in life. And to be able to teach them these things, we need to model them ourselves. So our first part comes into our values and our core beliefs. So I've got some questions just here, and we can use these as our journal questions. Now let's have a look. The reason why we need to look at our values and core beliefs is when it comes to the energetics of calm, we really are going to struggle to be calm, to be grounded into our base chakra, our base energy, which has the energy of feeling safe, and survival instincts on the other end of the scale. So at one at the end of the scale, we feel grounded and we feel calm and we're anchored and we're trusting that we are safe and exactly where we need to be. It's the goal. But on the other end of the scale is we don't feel safe. We're in survival mode. You know, all of these types of things that have us in flight or flight mode. Okay, so this is where our values and our core beliefs come around our family tribe instincts. It comes from how do we feel like we fit in and are accepted in our tribe, or are we feeling like we're constantly fighting for our place? Are we constantly fighting to be accepted or to be, you know, seen in here? Values are really important for an aspect of being seen and being understood and accepted when your values are embraced. So let's look at the values that you had or your family had when you were growing up. So the first question that you can journal, and we'll just take some time, you can place your hands on your belly just while I read this out to you, because this takes away from the head space and the thinking space and drops you down into your gut instinct. And just take a breath and allow your body to ground and feel the weight of your body supported by the earth beneath you right now. What did your parents value growing up? So you can take some time to journal on that. What did your parents value when you were growing up? What sort of attributes did they hold as important? So this could be one of the common things is children were meant to be seen but not heard. Is that maybe you weren't allowed to speak up or have an opinion? What did your parents value? Was your parents, your mother, your father, really charitable and wanted to, you know, bring people in off the street and help them? Did they instill these values that you need to, you know, give everything of yours away to help somebody else? Did they instill values such as, you know, you've got to work hard, you know, you've got to get a job and do all of these things to meet these requirements? What did your parents value and instill in you? Okay, so just take some time to just feel into that. The next question that I have is, well, what are important values to you? Now that you have your own family, you've got your own children, and you're creating your own tribe, we can sometimes break away from the tribe that we knew. The tribe that we grew up in had certain values, and maybe as you're growing up, these things are not in alignment with what you believe or what you want for your children or what you want for your family or how you want to live your life. So there's this go back to the examples that I gave you there with the parents being charitable and, you know, wanting to give everything away for themselves, and they become maybe the martyr is having to do everything for everybody else, and maybe they do it out of obligation, and then they feel resentment because they've given so much, and why can't anybody else appreciate how much they do for everybody? And maybe you want to call back some boundaries around that and say that I'm going to give within my capacity, and, you know, not have to give everything of yourself away and not have to do so much charitable work to find value within yourself or self-worth. You know, I only feel like I'm a good person if I do all of these things for everybody and burn myself out. That's one of the things. Becoming aware of these core values and beliefs are really important. Another core belief could be that I have to work really hard. And maybe this is coming into your parents both worked, or, you know, your mother was out doing all of these different jobs to earn money and you want to be home with the kids. You know, you want to be available or around, and you've got this inner core belief that brings up some guilt that, oh, maybe I should be working. Maybe I should be providing for my family. And we come back into that, and it's like, well, my value is that, you know, I want to be more present for my family. I want to be here. So that goes against that core belief of the base chakra tribal instinct. So it's just becoming really aware of that. So that's, where are you living in alignment and what needs your attention? So you can journal on those prompts there. and just to bring it into the forefront of your awareness. That's the first step, is coming into awareness of what are you breaking away from? What are you unleashing yourself from, these ties that hold you into. Sometimes we feel like we have to live in the values that we've grown up with, and we feel really restricted that we can't break away from that, or we might upset somebody, or offend, or not be grateful of how much somebody has given us. But it's about changing or unleashing ourselves from our core beliefs and making our values a priority in our life for our children. Okay, because that's coming from our heart center. Is we come back to our values again and again. We're always going to be coming back to our values. So how do we come back to our values? My values are, in my family, the way that we make these a forefront of everything is that we have conversations about them. What's important to you? We ask this question over breakfast every day, is coming together and asking, what do you want to do today? It's a really simple question, is that when you get a day together, you can say, what do you want to do today? What are you spending time on lately? What's of interest to you at the moment? What do you want to know more about or learn, or all of these different things? And I sat down with my children, called my husband over and said, tell me all your values. Like, what is it that you want to do more of? We made up a family vision board. So that's on the little building block there to do, is make a family vision board by asking everybody's input, so that everybody feels seen and everybody feels like their values are accounted for. And this is just up on my fridge. It's just writing down things like baking, playing outside, what is the other things? Game night, family game nights, reading together. Some other things that my kids have come up with was more adventures, these types of things. And then my husband's like, I want to have some time to do my gaming, which he stopped gaming when we started having kids, because I needed him more present. He wants more time for that. He wants more time to play his music. He wants time alone to do his passions. And me, I wanted time alone to write. I wanted time alone to read. I wanted some space. Alone time is very precious to me. So I needed some time to be able to write, to read, to meditate. Reiki's up on there, doing more Reiki with, and healing, having music and dance in our home. These are all different things that are on our family vision board. So you can do this in a way that is just words, like you could just have it like a mind map type thing with everybody writing different things on different colors, or you can do it in the old vision board way of cutting up magazines and making with pictures, which is really fun for get the kids involved. They can cut out things that they want to do more of. Or you can do it using a program like downloading pictures off the internet and pasting them all on a like a PowerPoint or something like that, and printing that off and sticking it somewhere that your family see it all the time. And everybody's been involved, so everybody feels like they're seen and heard with their values. Now, what do we do with that? Is around our values, we create our rhythm and flow. So around our values, we look at, I've got a whiteboard up on my fridge as well, next to our values vision board. We've got our rhythm. So it's just a little whiteboard divided into the days of the week, and each day has a theme. And the themes are for the kids. So it might be that there's one day that has a baking theme, one day that has an arts theme, one day that has a movement theme, one day has an adventure theme, one day has, so on and so forth. It's just whatever is of the kids' value is a theme of the day. Because I know my daughter asks me before she goes to sleep every night, what are we doing tomorrow? And I can say to her, tomorrow's our baking day, so why don't you think about something that you want to make, and then tomorrow we can find those ingredients and make it. We can be like, well, tomorrow's our adventure day, so we're going to go out and do this, or we're going to go and do this, or whatever it might be. We've got a grow day, which is a day out in the garden, because that's one of my values, is to try and grow a garden, these different things. So we've got each day of the week. So this is where it says earth rhythms of the day, the week, the month, the year. I'll go into that in a bit more detail, but this is coming back to the week section, is knowing each day of the week has a theme. Then you can have different things. So that's mainly for the kids, but during the week, you'd have things like on Sunday is a review day for me. It's like a rest, review, restore type day. So on Sunday, I'll be setting my mantra for the week ahead. I'm just coming to the end of a week that's called I am ready. So I'm really excited that tomorrow I get to make my new mantra for what's coming after I am ready. So it's sort of like all week I've been with my mantra, I am ready. And that makes it really easy for the next part, which is of the day, the morning ritual. You don't have to think about what your mantra is. You've already made it. You don't have to come up with a new one every day. I'll go into that more in detail soon. But every Sunday night is a rest, restore. And so I create my mantra. I do a reading for myself. It might be for the full week. Having a bath, shaving my legs if that's something that I want to do. Sometimes I don't want to do that. But it's just whatever you feel like doing to restore and get yourself in a space where you're ready for the week. So a Sunday for me is like the evening ritual, but for the whole week. Okay, now, so have a think about what are some things that you want to do weekly. If it's a bath, if it's an adventure, whatever it might be, which day of the week is that going to happen? So I like looking at it like that. Then I'll stay with the week for a little bit longer, making sure that I get my alone time and making sure that my husband gets his alone time. That both of us have these needs. And, you know, if one person was going to take that, like if I was going to say, oh, I work at nights, you work during the day while I've got the kids. So at night, I'm going to work every night and you've got the kids all at night. Then that may mean that we don't have family time. We don't have, he doesn't get alone time, all of these different things. It's unbalanced. So what we have done is that 2 nights of the week, I get to myself to do my own thing away. So it might be that after dinner, I'll say, all right, see you later. I'm going downstairs, and I get to come down into my healing space and take time to do my own thing. And then there's 2 nights a week that he does the same thing. After dinner, he goes downstairs and does his own thing. And I lay with the kids to put them to sleep. And then there's 3 nights a week that one of them is just me and him, and that's our at-home date night. And the other 2 nights are family nights where we do our movie night or our games night. So we've got all of our values are covered. I get my alone time to do my passion things. He gets his alone time to do his passion things. We're both fueled up, you know. And then we get our date night, which is time just him and me to connect. We don't have to go anywhere or do anything. Most of the time we just sit and watch a TV show and eat ice cream together, you know. That's all we do. But it's just that time. It's just him and I. And then family nights, the kids get what they want of all of us together. So that's how our week really looks. Looking at the earth rhythms of the day, this is coming into, like I've written my little quote across the bottom. This is something that I say to the kids so many times a day, or not really a day, an evening. I say, when the sun goes down, it's time for quiet and slow. When the sun goes down, it's time for quiet and slow. This is me winding them down as we're moving from day to night. This is the calming down, as we use the earth rhythms of the sun going to bed to say it's time for us to quieten down. And we use this so that it's time for no loud activities, you know, no outward energy. The thing with rhythms is that why I love rhythms over strict routine is that they're not they're not stuck. They're really flexible. So rhythm is all about like the breath. The rhythm of the breath is the expansion and the contraction. And so this is the important thing to remember when it comes to setting up your rhythm of your day, and this really comes into the day, the month, the year. It's all about times to expand, times to be outward in your energy, times to be doing something that's high in energy. And then after that, we have the contraction where our energy comes back in. And just like the moon moves from full, which is where we're big energy and we're moving outwards in a full moon energy, and then we're contracting that energy back in with the dark moon, time to new moon, it's time to rest. We do that with our day. So we'll have an expansion energy, which might be go out and play, go outside and play, go and run around, do this thing. And then we'll have a contraction activity. And that might be a meal. We try and have our meals at around the same time, always around the dining table and coming together. And that's a contraction of that energy again. And then after that meal, it's like, okay, now it's an expansion of that. Let's go and do an activity. Let's go and do this. Or, let's go for a walk or something like that. It's an expansion of that activity. And then you contract it back in again with the next contraction of that, bringing it all back together. So the day is an in and an out and an in and an out. Okay. And that's what keeps you connected to your flow as well. And you get to weave these values, weave these rituals into your weekly rhythm. So, you can use the chat, or if you feel comfortable, knowing that this is recorded, to share to those that couldn't make it live. If you want to jump on and share in this moment about your rhythm of your week or how this would look for you. The monthly rhythm is talking about the moon cycles and following the moon cycles, or even your menstrual cycles, into knowing when your energy is expansive and when your energy is contractive. So allowing that energy, I work off the moon cycles because being a breastfeeding mum, my cycles vary all over the shop. So I use the moon cycles to plan if I want to do something that's expansive, like this type of masterclass. In a waxy moon is a good time for me to do this because my energy is growing. My energy is growing at the moment, and so I've got the energy to spare. But if I was to do this in a waning moon, as we're after the full moon and we're moving more into the new moon, then my energy is contracting and I'm in more of a cave mode, and I'm writing content for you. I'm not in a talking mood. So planning the things that you do, even if it's going out with friends and doing parties or having people over, this type of thing, is to know where your energy is at across the month, across the week. And the year is coming into seasons. The year is knowing that there's a season for slow and there's a season for go. There's a season for being outwards and moving through things. And sometimes you're in a season, even if it's just a season of your life, where it's time to just contract. So that might be the fourth trimester, just after you've had a baby. It's a time to contract and come within. It might be at a stage of grief in your life, and it's okay to retract and come in. There's different changes that you move through in your season of life. It doesn't, and you can use the seasons of the autumn, the winter, the spring to the summer as that, if you're not sure what to hold on to. But you can just know that if you're in a season when you're feeling like contracting, you don't feel like expanding your energy so much, allow it to be, and to just know that this is just a season of contraction, and there will be a season of expansion to come around again. It's that wheel of the year. It's the cycle. It will just keep turning around. So I'll just open the floor at the moment. Is there anybody that wants to share their rhythms of their week? We'll sit with the week and see, how does that feel for anybody? Does anybody want to share with that? Let me know. I'll just check the chat. Beautiful. Okay. No problems. Well, I'll keep moving them. Let me know if you have any questions. I'm happy to answer any. Okay, let's talk about morning rituals. So the way that we start our day is setting us up for either success or like a downward spiral, pretty much. Oops, it's another chat. Yeah, so that was just Catherine's example of the last 6 months with Corona has encouraged a season of contraction for us. And this is why at the beginning of all of this, I was actually breathing a sigh of relief for the collective of the world. And I felt there's so many people that resisted the contraction. They felt so much anxiety about releasing the outward energy. There's so much of the collective energy that's go, 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 go constantly. And the thought of slow is really fearful, because maybe that means that they need to confront things that they're hiding from by keep running and keeping themselves busy. And when we become slow, we start to become aware of all of the little voices and the things that come to the surface. And so we need to be able to come into a collective contraction phase to be able to find a reconnect with ourselves. And the collective was really calling for that, a relief. Yeah, I definitely felt the relief of it as well, Catherine. It was a relief to be able to, have an excuse to say no to doing so many things, and to take a break, and to go back within the shell and find some grounding. So yeah, I'm definitely of that mindset as well. Okay, so the morning rituals is that we can either wake up and be in that, oh, here we go again. And I know that when I was in the pit of my disconnect, it would be Groundhog Day. You wake up. When my oldest was baby, even to a toddler, she would wake up screaming every day. And so it was like, oh, drain. Every time you wake up, it's like, oh, what can I do? And it's that trigger of the whole of the not enoughs, because she's screaming before you've even got out of bed. And it's just really hard to get on top of your energy when you wake up to constant demands. So this is the same thing as if I miss my morning ritual, if I sleep through this and I wake up to them begging me to get them something to eat, or, can you do this? Can we go there? Can we go out today? Can we do this? If I'm waking up to those demands, then I'm just like, oh, where's my energy? It's sapping already. They're already taking everything. And you don't have a chance to get ahead of it. So this is something that's really, really important to me, because when I do this, sets me up. And the beautiful thing about a morning ritual is that you can come back and save yourself at any point in the day. You can do your morning ritual at 4:00 if you've realized that your day has turned really bad and you need to fix it. So you can actually go, I'm going to do my morning ritual, even though it's 4:00 in the afternoon, and then things will get better from here. So just because it's a morning ritual doesn't mean that if you've missed it first thing in the morning, you're done for the whole day. You can save it. Yeah, you can go back and just do it whatever time it is. Just restart. And we have some checkpoints coming up that you can do this. Okay, so morning ritual for me. We are attuning our energy to our intention. Now, I have a meditation that I share quite regularly called Living As If. Now, this is my morning visualization ritual. And if you do it enough times, then you don't need to listen to it. You can just tune into it. So I'll send you out into your emails a copy of the recording that I've done. So it's a beautiful one you can do in the morning to attune to the intention, the visualization of what you want your day to feel like. How do you feel is your highest self? If you're living your best life, what would that look like? How would that feel? And it's tuning into the emotion behind what it looks like. And some people get caught up in that, oh, I would do this and I would do this and I might do that and I might have this, or all very physical and materialistic things around that. But let's just break it away from the things that you might have or see in that visualization and tune it back into the feeling. Tune it back into how would it feel if you were already in this way? How would it feel if you already had everything you ever wanted? Okay. Now, the thing is with this is that you need to wake up before your kids. Now, I am a co-sleeping mum. I wake up covered with kids on top of me. So I understand that it can be really hard to wake up before your kids in the traditional sense of the get up and, sit and do your meditation and your yoga without anybody touching you or some type of thing. That's not the way I do it. So waking up before your kids can mean, for me, sleeping with your curtains open. That's what I do so that the sun wakes me up. It also means putting my phone. I don't keep it in the bedroom. I keep it out in the kitchen, and I have a soft. It's really quiet. Only really mum's ears can hear it. It's just a really quiet alarm that goes off in the kitchen, and I can get myself out from underneath my toddler, go and turn it off, and come and slip back in and give him a boob before he wakes up. And I can lay in bed being awake that I've already got up and had to walk to the other end of the house, but come back and keep him asleep and quiet with my comfort to be able to go through this without having to attend to everybody's needs. And the more you do these things, the more the kids get used to you slipping up and going to grab something and coming back. I can say to him, I've just got to go to the toilet. And he goes, okay, and lets me go. And I can, it's like, as long as I come straight back. So waking up before the kids, those are some things that you can do. Sleeping with the curtains open so the sun wakes you, or going to get your alarm and coming back. Because if you're awake, you can do these next practices while you're laying in bed with your kids on top of you, if you're waking up in that way. Okay, if you don't have kids sleeping with you, then I think that you're in an advantage, is that you get to, you can wake up and do these things before people come in and need you. But set an alarm or something that's going to wake you up just before they usually get up. Mine's set to go off just before sunrise. So looking up when sunrise is, and this tunes you into the earth rhythms of the day, is that you rise and you set your intention to grow as the sun grows, which is really beautiful connection to earth energy as well. So recall your mantra. You've already done it. You've already said it for the week on Sunday night. You just have to remember what it is. Mine's on a card up on my windowsill in my kitchen, so that I can, every time I'm in the kitchen, which is a lot, then I'm reminded of what my weekly mantra is. So you can write it on a Post-it note. You can do whatever it is. But yep, I am ready. It's up on the windowsill, and in the morning I wake up, got my alarm, slipped back into bed to keep the kids from waking up, and I have and I can say, I am ready, I am ready, I am ready. And I'm doing that with my breath. So the breath's really important. There's a lot of different breath works, and there's more advanced breath works, but just to start you off, a simple connection to your breath is going to be all you really need to just connect and this is what I call connecting your spirit, or calling your spirit back into your physical body. Just like the breath that we do as we are born into the world, our first breath is calling our spirit back into our physical body and connecting that spirit into the physical. Just connecting with your breath first in the morning is a really good way to just be, I am here, I am ready, let's do this. So it's just keep breathing in. So if you want to do this with me now, breathing in 1, 2, 3, 4, and then hold it for the count of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then breathing out for the count of 8. Now you can do that 4 times, or as long as you want to, as long as you've got. It's a beautiful way to just tune into your body and feel into the way that your breath moves through your body. And the actual science behind it is that a longer outwards breath, a longer exhale, actually triggers your nervous system to go into relaxing mode. So it takes you out of that flight mode and puts you into a restore. Okay, resting, digesting, you are safe. It really is that trigger for I am safe. That longer exhale is what's important here. So even if you do a short in-breath, hold short, and just a long exhale, it's going to calm you down. And visualize how your mantra looks today. So this can be where you might plug in your headphones to listen to the guided visualization that I'll send you, or you can just take yourself through those questions of, how do I want to feel? If your mantra is I am ready, as what I'm working with this week, it could be, well, what does being ready look like to me? How would I feel? How would I hold my body and walk about my day if I was truly ready? And ready for what? What am I here for? What am I doing? And to be able to visualize yourself walking through these motions with the full confidence of having that already within you. And my next step is to move your body. So some days I'm lucky and I get to do a full yoga practice, but I'm realistic. It doesn't happen every day. I used to be able to go out for a walk, but having 3 young kids now, that's more of an effort than it is a restorative thing right now, trying to get 3 kids out the door. So that might be something that happens later in the day. But moving your body first thing is really good. Even if it's just doing some stretches, just to feel into you. Sometimes I put some music on and dance while I'm making the breakfast. Sometimes it can be mantras in love. Beautiful choruses, got beautiful mantra music to start your day. This morning it was metal, and I was doing squats in the kitchen, and my kids were laughing at me because I was getting my energy higher. So I was doing. It's move in whatever way you want to move. You. And if you don't, then explore different types of music that make you feel different things, and go back to that. How do I want to feel today? And put that type of music on and allow your body to just move with that. Sometimes for me, it's been belly dancing. And, I just put that type of music on and just, do this. I don't even know what I'm doing, but I just play. It's play. And that moving your body is the best way that you can once again activate your physical body, and it's actually shaking out any stagnation in your energy system, and it's waking you up for your day. Gratitude practice is the other thing that really is important for every day, and I was really resistant to this because it seemed just really boring. Because being grateful is, you go like, oh, name 3 things you're grateful for, or write 3 down things you're grateful for. I'm like, oh, I'm grateful for my family, I'm grateful for having a roof over my head and the food in my fridge, these things. And it would start to just be really repetitive, and you're like, oh, of course I'm grateful for these things. So gratitude is not about writing this list of 3 things you're grateful for. You don't need to write it down. You don't need to try and sit there and think of 3 things or make it a thing. But for me, it's looking my first sight of the sky outside in the day. Sometimes if it's opening the curtains and it's like, I'm here, and thank you for this new day, even if it's cloudy and rainy. It's not about the weather. That's our external perceptions of what's going to make us happy. It's I'm here. It's really coming back to that every time. It is like, I'm thankful, I'm here. And it's about the feeling that you feel in your heart center. It's about opening your heart center, freeing your heart center to be open to receiving the gratitude that's ready to come for you. And we can't receive this incoming if we're closed to feeling this. So just opening it to just being really open to receiving whatever the day is going to throw at you. And that's gratitude in my books. It's just being opening to the sky, opening to the weather, and just I work with earth energies, so I use the elements, I use the weather to my advantage, whatever's going on. If it's raining, I say, oh, it's clearing away so much. It's windy, it's bringing new things in. Lots of different elemental aspects to this. So that's your morning ritual. And really, it takes less than 5 minutes, and you can do it all in your head. You don't need any external pieces of paper or anything like that. You can do it while laying in bed, squashed by kids. You can do it if you have been woken up and, you're being dragged out to make breakfast and you're feeling like, oh, I just needed a bit more time just to wake up. You can do it as you're walking through the house. You can just be like, breathe. What's my mantra again? Connecting it in, and then just make a choice. The beautiful thing with all of these practices, all of these rituals, is about you being empowered to make the choices for your day. You being empowered to make the choice in every moment to switch back to your intention, to switch back to who do you want to be? Who do you want to feel like? How do you want to feel? And you are reminded that you actually have the empowerment to make these choices. I'll just check this live here. We're still live. I can't tell anymore. I think so. Beautiful. Okay, so it's coming back to you have the choice, and this is what we need. We need to be able to to check in with that. I'll come back to that. Actually, we'll go. Yeah, come back to the journaling. But return to the center with these anchor points. So these anchor points are points throughout throughout your whole day that remind you of the choices that you get to make. So when you start to feel stressed out or overwhelmed, or like you're about to break away from this sense of calm, you'll start to feel your body getting a bit more reactive state. Oh, I'll just check the chat. Oh, sorry, I missed a few. Fourth trimester from Sarah. Yeah. The expansion becomes daunting. And that's the beautiful thing about moving into the rhythms of the earth, is that, have you seen, like, you're in Victoria, Sarah, have you seen that how there's the earth is feeling daunted about moving into the spring, into the summer? There's so much, like, snow is falling down south. It's really, really hesitant to come out of that. And that gives you permission to say, I don't have to be ready. I don't have to be ready. Just because it's spring, I don't have to do this. I can be hesitant. I'm allowed to. So that's okay. Catherine, feeling stuck under kids, not getting to sneak out of bed. Yeah. This is what I'm all about, is doable things that even when you're underneath your kids, you can still change your direction of energy. Yeah, because a lot of the mainstream practices that get taught for self-care and all of these morning rituals, they don't work for people that are underneath children. they require you to be alone and have an hour, and we don't. Beautiful. Okay, so these checkpoints catch us when we're in our day and things might have got out of hand. Maybe our children are having an overly emotional day and it's draining our energy faster than we expected. Maybe we get some sort of work deadline, or a bill comes in and throws us out of whack or changes our energetic state. What do you find yourself doing every time you get stressed? So for me, it was turning on the kettle to make an instant coffee. When I was in my downward spiral, I was not eating food and I was having like 5 coffees a day full of sugar. And that was not helping me. Going to the pantry, looking for snacks, angry cleaning, or picking up toys and getting really resentment that you have to pick up after everybody else, finding random shoes and just getting angry. These are different things that I've experienced in my time as well. And the way that I turned it around to reminding me of that choice, because it's not going to be as easy as just being like, oh, I understand that I'm feeling angry and I have a choice to make about being calm, and so I'm going to choose calm now. It doesn't work like that. Because that's trying to set an affirmation when you don't actually believe it yet. And we don't need to do that. So what this is doing, making these acts, these things that you do every time you're stressed, turning them into our anchor points, our checkpoints. So in these moments, about triggering the choice that you get to make and giving you the opportunity to ditch the mood you are heading into and switch into a new frame of mind. And we do that by making these a return point to our morning ritual. We take the segments that we did in our morning ritual and we shorten them down to a moment's thing, and we return to a breath, breathing in for 4, holding for 4, breathing out for 8. Have you ever been told, stop and count to 10 when you're feeling angry? It's the same sort of concept of that, but it's anchoring it to your breath, anchoring it to the long exhale, which triggers your body to stop, rest, you are safe, everything is okay. And then remember your mantra. Remember the feeling that you invoked when you called your mantra in the morning, or when you last did it. Sometimes you skip days and that's okay, but just remembering the mantra and how it feels for you. And And from here, you can either, if you've snapped at one of the kids, you can apologize, you can make a change, you can start again. Okay, so it gives you that refresh. So some of mine is the door frame every time I have to go in and change a nappy, because there was a point there and it's like, oh, I have to change another pooey nappy and it's just driving me crazy. Like, every time I try and get into something, I get interrupted by this. And instead of changing it to that, it's checkpoint. Every time you walk through that door frame, it's like, okay, refresh while we're here. And that changed it for me. Picking up clothes on the floor became grounding exercises for me. My whole washing routine of picking up the clothes from scattered all over the place, putting them in the wash basket, taking them to the washing machine, sorting them, washing them, hanging them out, folding them, putting them away. Every step of that process is now grounding exercise for me. Every time I'm doing it, I kick my shoes off if I'm wearing them, make sure I'm barefoot. I am feeling my roots, my energetic roots travel down my body and into the ground, and I'm feeling my breath. I might look up at the sky and just feel my body anchor. And that's been an evolving process that started with frustration of having to pick up everybody's stuff all over the ground, started with feeling myself outside, hanging up the washing outside with no shoes on the ground, and feeling my body bending down and then stretching up. And I felt like this was really grounding. I'm really enjoying this process. And so it's like, well, let's make it my thing. let's build this in. And what's the other one there? Turning on the kettle, because that was something that I was doing that was not healthy for me, and I wanted to change it. So now I've put the kettle away in the cupboard and I hardly use it because I'm not making instant coffees. We don't even have instant coffee in the house. So we have other coffee, but it's a one of the day big ritual process of making it once, and that's it. And so, it's changing these things to make them more of a power habit rather than a disempowering habit. One of these things that you do that makes you feel really agitated or run down, we're changing them into power habits so that, when you are picking up these things, you're feeling empowered. when you're doing these things, you're feeling in control. When I turn on the kettle now, I'm making myself a herbal tea, and that's strengthening. It's not, an instant coffee that's draining me. Let's see, can I go backwards? Yes. Beautiful. Now let's go over to the journaling. So journaling is something that's really important to me. Journaling is something that really helps me to embrace my awareness of self and my connection to self. But I was not journaling every day because I felt like I need to take a lot of alone time. I felt like I needed to get really, really deep into my emotions and my energetic self. And I didn't feel like I had the time for that every day. I felt like I didn't have the energy to support how deep I wanted to go every day. And so it just wouldn't happen. And it might have ended up being like a once a week thing, or maybe just like a full moon type thing or a new moon type thing. And it was one of my values that I journaled every day. How can I journal every day without needing to write an entire novel? That's something that I do, is that I put things off because I'll want to put too much energy into it, and being all or nothing, it's like, oh, I don't have time to write all of that stuff, so I'm just not going to do any of it at all. Journaling daily pages is something that I've been able to keep up with, and it's actually really helped me, and I don't have to dive deep at all. I can do it while I'm doing other things, and it's really easy for me. It's a little book. It's only like this big, and I have another journal for if I'm wanting to move really deep, and I can move into really deep with this journal if I want to. But my only expectations of myself in this is to write this morning, Saturday, 26th of September, 2020. The moon is a waxing half quarter in, where are we? Gemini. No, Libra, sorry. In Libra. And that's what I wrote in there. The sun is in, maybe the sun is in Libra. Moon is in Capricorn. There we go. Sun in Libra, moon in Capricorn is what I've written there. I use the app Time Passages to check where all of these alignments are. If I want to, I can read into the horoscope for the day based on all of the moon things on my chart. It's individualized to my actual chart and the time that I was born. So this is what works for me. You don't have to do this, but you can just take any step of this and just do what works for you. So you might just write the date and write your intention. Okay, that might be all you want to do to start. This is my full practice. So I have the date, the moon and the sun alignment, the phase of the moon, what day I am in my cycle. So I can think about, how am I feeling in relation to my expansion and contraction monthly based on the moon and my cycle. My weekly mantra, so I write pretty much on every page for the week, I am ready. My daily tarot or oracle card. This is only, you don't have to do this type of thing, but it's something that I love doing, is to draw a card daily. And then I leave it quite a decent space to be able to come back to that. So I'll ponder on that card throughout the day, something that I pop up on my windowsill in my kitchen. And then I can just think, how has that card shown up for me today? It could just be an oracle card, or it could be a tarot, depending on what you're into, if you're wanting to do this. But I leave space to come back to it. So once again, in the morning, I don't have the expectations to dive deep into it. I just write its name. Then I get to think on it. A daily intention statement. So that's pretty much thinking about the I am ready. Maybe it's the trigger from what the card says to you, the oracle card. It might be looking at the energy or what you've got on for the day. What are you going to do today? How are you going to feel? And it's sort of like putting the statement from your morning meditation or visualization into words. And then I come back at the end of the day and fill in my thoughts on the tarot. At the end of the day, I come in and fill in my good habits, what I've stuck with, and the bad habits that I ditched. So this is focusing on the positives, focusing on the solution here. What are the good things that you've done? So I'll type down, I journaled today. I did my meditation and my breath work this morning. I cleaned the house, whatever it might be that's important to you, getting things done, or whatever it is. I sent an email to my peoples, whatever it is that you did. What project have you done? Bad habits that you ditched, to say like, I didn't do this, I didn't do that, I was able to refrain from this. And you can write these things down at the end of the day. And once again, start small and build from it. So I start my clients with just the date and their daily intention statement. You could even do it with your monkey mind statement. If you've got an overreactive monkey mind, that's constantly tearing you down or setting you up with negative thoughts first thing in the morning, is that you could start with the date. Monkey mind says this, I need to do this, or I'm not good at this, or blah, blah, blah. And then say, my daily intention is to do this, or the truth is this. You could change it either way, whatever works for you. But journaling in just a page, it's not even a full page, it's just short few lines. Okay. And let's talk about meditation with kids. Okay, so meditation with kids hanging off us. Let me just check that chat. I can see there's a few there. Putting off journaling as it feels too hard or too much. Yeah, I completely get that. And then you beat yourself up for not doing it right. Yeah, exactly. And that's why I had to reform the habit, so that it was in a way that I could do it when I was busy. So I will do my journal practice. So when I sit down to have my breakfast, we'll have breakfast around the table, and usually I'm pretty slow to drink my coffee, so I will probably be talking through my breakfast, and my kids will finish before me, and I'll be talking to them about, what do you want to do today? I'll be asking, like, we've got kids, we've got some oracle cards that the kids like to draw. One's like unicorns, one's dragons. So getting them to draw their cards and make their intention for the day is our breakfast ritual around the table. And then they'll run off and go and do their expansion activity. They've done their contractions. It's only a short amount of time because they're 7, 5, and 2. So they're off ready to run off and do other things. And then I get to sit there with my journal, and I'll write down these things just while I'm finishing my coffee and having a bit of peace. So that's when it works for me. Now, meditation with kids. So sometimes in that moment of them finishing breakfast and running off, I might go and sit out on the front deck in the sun by myself. I might just take that moment and take my journal and my coffee out there to finish it off, and just take a moment while they're busy. If that doesn't happen, like, the thing is that I'm expecting interruptions, and that's the change maker within my practice and within this acceptance of this work. Doing this as a mother is that I'm expecting the interruptions, and the interruptions are the practice. Being able to return back to the intention again and again, turning back to your breath, returning back to the values throughout your entire day, the checkpoints, returning back to that is all a meditative practice and of choice, of making choices and returning back, making the choice and returning to your values. That is the practice. So don't discount that. If you're doing that in your day, if you're starting your day with this visualization, meditation doesn't mean 3 hours in silence and sitting still. Okay, I'm a big believer in masculine meditation, which is the silence, the alone, and the stillness, and feminine meditation, which is a moving meditation that is able to moving meditation that moves in art, moves in body movement like dance and yoga, washing. These types of moving meditation practices are a feminine way, because the feminine is constantly in flow. While the masculine is still, while the masculine is silent, the feminine is more in a flow with this. Okay, so a feminine meditation movement is where the mothers for generations are constantly in movement. Mothers in generation, women in across lifetimes, we've always been in constant movement and flow. We are generating the energy. Okay, we are generating the energy by moving and by creating the flow. And our rhythm is like the banks of the river. They hold they hold the energy in a container of a direction to say, this is the direction of your flow. That gives you a bit of that masculine structure of your force. But the feminine of it is to allow the movement to keep going. Okay, so this is where your feminine meditation practices can be in returning to your values, in returning to your choices of how you respond. It is the flow of the dance of the fluidity of your movement and the way you hold your body. Your meditation is in your breath. Your meditation is in your voice. Your meditation is in your practices and the things that you do throughout your day. Okay, moving meditation while washing the dishes and hanging the washing. And it's such a shame that it's like women's work. Like, I do not like that aspect of this as well, and I get that. But the thing is that even when women are doing, we're constantly doing, and we're constantly moving. Okay, we are programmed that we are able to do a million things at different times, because this is how the feminine works. It works by moving and by flowing with this energy. Okay. Now, co-regulation is another aspect that can really help you when you're holding your babies, like I can see you doing here. The co-regulation supports both you and your child. Now, something that I've talked my child through while holding her through her emotions, just holding that space for her, is just feeling your body moving like the waves of the ocean. The give and the take, the expansion, the contraction. You can feel that with your breath. You can feel that with just the heart space opening and coming back in, and just your aura, your energy embracing and coming back in, embracing and coming back in, and just feeling that flowing in and out helps the breath. And if you can connect into your breath, your heart space while holding your child, a hug is a heart space connection, because you're heart to heart. I can see both of you sitting there with your children, those that I can see, Catherine and Sarah, with your children with you. Your hearts are heart to heart with your child right now. Okay, so the co-regulation is when you support your heart to expand and come back in, and expand and come back in. The coming back in is important because we need boundaries. This is another talk I don't have time for, but the co-regulation is about you coming at it from a heart space and nourishing from your heart. And another way that you can do this co-regulation together is questions about the 5 senses. So just saying things like, let's take a breath, and what can we smell in the air today? What can we smell together right now? And you can do this, obviously not as easy with babies, but as an older child, you can go through the five senses of what can you see, what can you smell, what can you taste in your mouth, what can you hear, and what can you feel around you. Just going through these five senses just helps to bring that co-regulation back in. You can do it sitting on it, with your child sitting in your lap, and just being heart to heart and just saying, what can you smell? I can smell this. Can you smell that? And you're tuning into your senses. Leaning into the energy of play and giving it a new direction. And this is a part of that moving meditation, is that energy of the dance in the morning, the energy of what do you want to be, or how do you want to feel, is when there is resistance to you taking a meditative break, how can you do it in a sense of play that includes the child? Sometimes try heart-to-heart connection. They're not interested when sad or angry. Yeah, so it can be really hard to do that heart connection openly, or asking the children to be in more of that masculine stillness and quiet and slow, when they're in that expansive energy of reaction of anger, or they're angry, they're wanting to expand their energy, and we're trying to bring them in to be calm and just take a breath. All of these things, sometimes it's moving with the play of that, sometimes it's being playful with that energy, through expanding through imagination and expanding through where can you go with this, what can you see. Let's check that again. Being playful has been helping me. Yeah, and accents of fun. Yeah, that would be. Yes, I was having a lot of trouble getting my 2-year-old in his car seat. Every time we'd get in the car seat, he would do the arch the back and want to drive. And, you're getting exasperated because you're trying to convince a 2-year-old that they can't drive and they have to put their belt on. And then I just had this moment where I'm like, just turn it to play. And so I was like, we're going to be blasting off in the rocket ship, 5, 4, and I'm like, you got to put your harness on to go in the rocket ship. And then he was like, oh yes, let's get the harness on, and he's ready to go. And I'm like, are you ready for this adventure? And he's like, yes, I'm ready. And so we're getting him in his belt, and it's changed the energy of the moment. Okay, so using imagination through your meditation with your children, co-regulating with them and drawing them into your practice, because this is actually activating your sacral center of your pleasure and your emotional senses as well. Okay, finding solace in moments of fresh air and sunlight. So this is where I teach, even when you get the burst of the wind to come through, this is what I was saying before, is like the wind brings change, the sun brings sun sourcing. Sun sourcing is where you just sit in the sun and you're absorbing all of the abundance that it's pouring into you. The fresh air, the rain is cleansing, using the elements to bring through these energies, and just to be able to just step outside is like, oh, I'm getting such a refill of energy. And it's different for whatever the weather's bringing. It doesn't need to be a sunny day to just get joy. Snacks of joy is enjoying the little things in life, and snacking on these moments constantly, not having to wait for a big banquet of something good to be, like not having to wait constantly for that summer holiday to be excited about things. You're excited about all the little things in your life. They're all bringing you joy. And the heart congruence, we're talking about being heart to heart. Let's see. So, just remembering a moment from today or recently, maybe in this moment, where you need to be able to tune into to your child, or a moment where you could have changed the energy to play or given it a new direction. So you can write that down in your journal, or have a think about where that would work for you. And we're back to evening rituals. So at the end of the day, it's all about nourishing, restoring. It's like the Sunday night of your day. You know, the Sunday is all about the rest, restore, regenerate. You're setting yourself up for, you know, a beautiful, fantastic week of productivity or whatever it is that you are valuing to achieve. And the evening rituals is like the Sunday night of your day. And so this is where you want to be refueling your body. For me, it's a bath, having a nourishing Magic Mama potion, which is I have coconut milk, and I might put some chai spices, using other adaptogenic herbal powders. I use things like reishi, ashwagandha, rhodiola, shatavari. I'm not fully qualified yet to prescribe for you, so I recommend that you do check with your qualified herbalist to see if it's going to work for your current situation. They're just some of the herbs that I have in powder form in my coconut milk. You can bring a little kitchen witch magic into this. So stirring clockwise is to increase the energy. So you might be thinking, I'm going to increase my vitality. I'm going to increase my productivity with this. I'm going to increase. What are you increasing when you're stirring clockwise? Or if you're wanting to reduce something or take away something, then it's anti-clockwise, stirring anti-clockwise to rid your body of fatigue or to, you know, take away the stress, whatever it might be. But the intention is everything. So just having that intention as you're doing this practice really mindfully, thinking about what you want this to bring for you. You take your magic milk and you go and take your journal and you fill in the ponders about the card that came up for you or the intention that you set for your day, and how did that show up throughout the day? How did you respond to this energy? How did you go with your habits? And if you don't make it back with a pen and a paper to your journal, you can just use your hand. So I know I've spoken to Sarah about this recently, is just using your hand. Is if you find yourself in bed and you think, oh, I didn't get my journal, that's fine. We're not doing guilt trips about, oh, go and get it, you didn't finish the thing. None of that. Also, if you skip a day, don't try and fill in the days before. Don't go back and think, well, how did I feel yesterday? What did I do? No, we just start fresh that day, Every day gets a new page and start fresh. We don't look back. Even if my journal would be like Monday, and then if it gets to Saturday and you haven't done anything, don't try and fill in the gaps. You just start from Saturday. It's okay. So you can do it with just your 5 hands. You're laying in bed and you think, oh, I didn't do my journal today. That's all right. I've got my hand. So 5 things that make them the 5 habits that you want to be able to do. So that could be, all right, let's do my breath work right now. And do your breath and my intention. Let's do my intention right now. What was my mantra again? Just re-invoking that into your body, embodying that once again at this time is you've done it for the day. Tick. Okay. And then you could do a visualization of how do I want to feel in the morning? What's something that I want to intend for my day tomorrow? Okay. And then it could be, how am I going to move my body tomorrow? How am I going to connect in with my physical? And think about something that you can do in the morning. So it's just setting yourself up for a successful next day. Now, I have a rule for myself is that I don't bring my phone into the bedroom because it gives me more presence with my partner. It gives me more presence to my books in my room, and if I have my phone in there, I'll probably ignore my books. So one of my values is to read before bed. So that means that I have an alarm on my phone that says on the nights that I'm not working, go to bed at 8 o'clock and read. So I'll just take myself into bed and I start reading. And doing Reiki before bed is beautiful. And this is something that I share with my children as well. To attune them to Reiki so they can do it for themselves, and I do it for them to help them really nurture their energy, nourish and restore before bed, sets them up for a beautiful good night's sleep. So this is something that I do with mothers in my my work when we do together. Is my aim is to attune you to this energy, to be a conduit of this energy, so that you can attune your children, so that you can so that you can work on yourself, so that you can do this Reiki with the children. It's a beautiful bedtime ritual for them, and use it on yourself as well. So that's part of my higher vision of helping women get to that. Okay, so creating the support that you need to thrive. How can we get support around doing this? Needing to have boundaries with yourself and others. So even if on your weekly rhythm it says that this is my night to go and take alone time, because I know that's one of my needs and that's what I need to work on my passions or do something that is that I'm really creative in this moment, and then it gets to that night and you don't do it because you think, oh, I should just go and lay with the kids, like put them to bed, or I should, clean the kitchen or whatever it might be, and you don't do it. Holding boundaries with yourself is just as important as it is to hold boundaries with others. The thing that I've learned is that we can't expect that just because it's up on the whiteboard that you're taking this night off, that your partner's not going to say, oh, you're supposed to be going and taking some alone time right now. Why aren't you doing that? They're not always going to do that. Sometimes I'm lucky and I get that, but it doesn't always happen. I have to hold the boundary for myself to say that this is my time to do what I need. And even if you just take half an hour, even if you just take 15 minutes of alone time and just go, oh, I'm done. I'm all right with that. And then come back. As long as you're feeling that you're done and you're not just coming back because you feel like you're guilty for taking time for yourself. But this is something that we can work through this. Communicating your needs and desires. So having these conversations that come up with I think I'm going to need a night just to focus on my own creativity. I think I'm going to have a night just to take some time away from everything and just spend some time just by myself. Communicating that to the people that you have around you, or asking for help, getting other external help in. So having to, before all of this corona stuff happened, I'd hired a babysitter to come in just one morning a week and just play with the kids so that I could do some focused writing without people screaming all around me. These different things. Working through the patterning as to why you may resist self-care. Now, there are lots of things that come up about the resistance to doing these things. This is what I was talking about, the feeling guilty, or I should just be doing this, or just putting it off and being busy and not taking the time to slow down and connect in. Sometimes we don't want to hear those things that are going through our head. And the other thing that you can do to support yourself through this is to strengthen your energetic centers for safety, which is the base chakra, self-worth, which is the solar plexus, and the motivation, which is your sacral. So these are the three lower chakras that we build on. Okay, so building and strengthening these energetic centers help you to have that platform to connect into your heart energy, to connect up into the activation of how you want to be in the world, which is an expression through your calm, which is an expression of modeling the behavior that you want your children to embody. Okay, so to be able to express that, we need that strong foundation of support. Okay, so let's see. If you're thinking, you could really use a mentor through all of this, because how am I supposed to keep myself accountable to all of this stuff? That's me. That's my job. So this is what I do for women, is that I am a mentor, I am a guide, but I keep you accountable and I support you through this journey. Okay, so that's what I do. I have spaces available for private mentorships where I work one-on-one with you. I only take on a small amount of women at a time because I really spend a lot of time with you. It's a bespoke sort of package. So sometimes women want to work with me weekly. Sometimes it's okay to work fortnightly, where we spend 90 minutes together, weekly or fortnightly. We move through each of these energetic levels. We move up through moving through these rhythms and making sure your rhythm's really solid, and you've got the practices that are actually going to work for you in your lifestyle. And what I'll also do is make sure that you are attuned to this energy so that you know that you are a conduit. I believe that everybody is a conduit of earth energy. But what I do is I activate this energy so that you can use it to check in with self, so that you can use it to help hold space for yourself and your children, and guide them on how to use it as well. We move through all the way up to that. We move through all of the self-saboteur work of why we have resistance to self-care. We move through all of these deep woundings through inner child work, inner mothering work, generational healings, because it does go back through generational lineage, and past life Akashic records readings, because sometimes we have these contracts that we have moved through great traumas in our past lives, and we're holding on to these sacred contracts that hold us back from doing these things that we really need to do to activate ourselves as to be this guide that our children need. I believe that our children are the change makers in the world, and we're here to heal so that our children can step up and bring big changes to the world. We're moving into this 5D reality of a heart-centered earth, and our children are going to be the change bringers for that. And we are the cycle breakers. So to be the cycle breakers, we've got to go back and do all of this generational healing. We've got to go back and clear all of our mother wounds and make sure that we are unleashed from all of these stories that play out for us. So if you are interested in more support from me, working with me one-on-one, I would love to have a conversation with you. So what you would do from that is just send me an email. You can hit reply to any of the emails that you've received to get the link to join me here, or just send me a message on Facebook if you're familiar there, and let me know that you'd like to know more about it. And I'd love to work with you in that intimate container, because I know that working through the motherhood evolution with me one-on-one, we make some huge progress. I also have a group container where you can just watch the modules if you're wanting to just go through it on your own, and you don't really want to, if you want something where you can just do it at your own pace and work through it, that is available as well. But, and like, I'm really here for the VIP, the one-on-one connection is what I'm really feeling that's a huge shift for the women that I have worked with so far. I've had one woman come all the way through, and she completely changed her whole life, and she's completely unleashed. She's living her best self right now. So she moved through it all really quickly, and she's done. And so this is where I've got some spaces opened up. I've got another lady that's moving through it at the moment. We just had our session earlier, and she said to me, before I started this, I didn't even know how to ground. I couldn't connect into myself at all. And she said, and then a few months in, I was able to, ground, and I could really connect in. She said, now, we did her attunement to the energy, to activate that conduit of energy. And she said, now I feel like I can connect to all different things all at the same time, and I can get it to all work together. And she said, I know that I'm not alone, because, if I need to go back down and heal my generational lineage, then I don't actually need to do it all with my own power, because I've got all of this universal support channeled through me to do it with me. And it's just really lifted her up into her empowerment. So that's my offering for you today. If let me know how that sounds to you, as I'd love to be your support person through this, your mentor, your guide. Let me know. That's everything I have for you today. If you have any questions, I'd love to open the floor. You can, I'm going to stop the share. Let's see, come back to you. And I'm going to pause our recording. Stop.